What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from Anime Uproar, and it's been a minute since my last One Punch Man review, but so many insane stuff is happening right now in the story that it's about time to talk about it. We're talking Awakened confirmed God threat level Garo, Blast getting serious, Saitama getting serious, and much more, so make sure to stay tuned for this one. Serious, punch that like button if you do enjoy seeing these One Punch Man chapter reviews and want to keep them coming. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't so you don't miss future One Punch Man chapter reviews and updates, because it is getting really good right now. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. So we start off with Garo, after getting the power up from God, but not falling completely under his control. And Garo is making everyone around him fall apart by just being there. Child Emperor gets a nosebleed and then collapses. His hair is falling out. Bang notices that there's something in Garo that's not Garo, something evil. It's Bang's opinion that Garo is being controlled. Bang wants Garo back, but Garo calmly tells him he's in his right mind and exercising his own free will. Then Blast, number 1 S-Class hero, appears. So hype. I love it whenever this man makes an appearance. He says Bang is right and Garo is being controlled by God. He explains that Garo was given divine energy, another hype detail. Looks like Garo has God Ki now. Then Blast says something big, that any attack Garo unleashes while on the planet could endanger the very existence of all living things. That is literally the definition of a God level threat, which is defined as a threat that endangers the survival of all humanity. It can't get any more conclusive than that, since now, even without trying to, Garo can take out all living things, not just humanity. He's become disaster level God as he's always wanted to. Blast tries to reason with him, asking does the endangering of all living things line up with Garo's goals. Garo actually doesn't dismiss him, but asks if that's true, what should he do? To which Blast suggests that he'll lead him to another dimension. He tells him to take a look at the effect he's having on everyone, and we see that almost everyone can't tolerate the cosmic radiation Garo is giving off. The effect is reminiscent of Conqueror's Haki from One Piece, where the low-level characters are just taken out from the get-go. Of course, Blast has resistance to it, but he explains the others will die just from Garo being here. Now that is quite an insane level of power. Blast notices now that Garo does retain some humanity and wonders if he managed to stave off the full impartation of God's power. If so, Blast fears what would happen if God's full impartation of power was complete. Blast is then about to utter some very hype words. Literally all we're missing right now is Saitama showing up and getting serious, and we'll get that later in the chapter too, but not yet. The hype thing Blast says is if Garo won't listen to reason, then it'll be a battle of supremacy between two beings who manipulate the reality of the cosmos to decide who is right and who is wrong. We're learning a lot about Blast here, including the fact that he understands the importance of power. No matter what, at the end of the day, the stronger will ultimately have the privilege of choosing who is right, aka of making themselves right. Might makes right, if you will. It's also hype how they're represented as divine-like beings who can manipulate the reality of the cosmos. And I realize I might be saying hype a lot in this chapter review, but it was a very hype chapter. Although we all know Saitama will beat his opponents in the end, getting to see Awakened Garo push Blast to his limit would be amazing. Garo laughs, saying divine power ain't bad at all. Just him being around means that he's finally getting to be the symbol of fear he always wanted to be. He's still aligned with his goal, even if it means he can't be close to others. He finally proclaims he is that miserable future, disaster level God. And yeah, I don't really think anyone can question that disaster level anymore. It makes you think though, how strong is this God figure himself if he can make others so powerful? Bang tries to interfere with Garo, but Blast tells him to stop, since if he gets closer, he'll only die. I love Bang's attitude here though, he's just like, so what? I love that Zoro-like contempt for death. All the while, Garo contemplates evil, how no one needs to understand it, how people are miserable if they are around it. He's tried to convince himself to finish off Bang and to never see the kid who looks up to him again. It's a recurring idea to shonen, you gotta cut all ties off if you wish to reach your goal, like Sasuke and Naruto, but as we know, people with that ideology usually get knocked to their senses sooner or later. Then, out of nowhere, GENOS comes in with the headbutt. He's in no condition to fight, but he keeps fighting because he's not affected by the radiation either. Nice touch there, since it makes sense that he would be less affected as a cyborg, plus what is about to happen because of this GENOS intervention just makes the chapter so much crazier. Garo calls him heroic and mentions the fact that it makes sense that he was Saitama's student, despite his S-class ranking. Blast then uses a really cool move called Dimension Cannon. He fires it off, but Garo sees fit to avoid it. As Garo mentions, it's a force transfer, aka I assume it would teleport people to another place or dimension if it touched them, like Kamui Shuriken from Naruto. But enough Naruto references, the fight becomes like the Doctor Strange film I watched yesterday. Blast uses circular portals to teleport Garo from place to place while delivering high-speed gravity punches. It's definitely epic to see what Blast is finally capable of, and it is not disappointing. Finally, it looks like Blast won. He teleports Garo away, but Garo is progressing so fast, he is able to copy the ability and teleport back. He pretty much copies Blast's moves, including his gravity punches. Blast uses teleportation rings to protect himself from the punches, but eventually they burst from the overload of energy, and Blast is shocked to see it. Blast realizes that if this much power keeps being unleashed here, the planet will die. He then decides he'll need to transfer everyone else out, which is the only solution if Garo can just come back whenever he wants. Garo then talks big. First, he praises Blast, saying that it makes sense he's the #1 S-class hero, which yeah, he rocked, but then he says he's still not worth Garo's attention. That's how strong Garo has become, at least in his own opinion. I'm sure Blast has more abilities up his sleeves, but it definitely seems like Garo's got the advantage so far. Garo ignores Blast and then destroys GENOS to bring out Saitama's true strength. It's crazy and gets a lot darker than I expected. We appear to have a full black page here, which I'm guessing will be in the official release too, and it is a nice touch to symbolize the gravity of the moment. It begins to rain, probably part rain, part GENOS liquids, and Saitama is here. We've never seen him snap like this before. Garo points out that Saitama was too late to save his friend. Garo passes Saitama what used to be Genos' core, and we see a brutal image of Genos' lifeless body that we're not even gonna show for YouTube reasons. This could be Saitama's Krillin getting killed moment. He just doesn't have the hair to go Super Saiyan, but otherwise, this could be crazy. He remembers a conversation with Genos about hero timing and how he usually arrives too late, just like right now. Saitama thinks to himself, it sure doesn't look like he has a hero's intuition, and then we see his serious face. He launches a killer series, Serious Punch. The expression, the gravity conveyed through the illustration, it's all amazing. Garo copies Saitama by entering Saitama mode and launching his own similar attack. Blast, the #1 S-class hero who was hyped for so long, is now petrified, knowing that this energy will shatter the earth if their fists collide. And that is the end of this epic chapter, arguably the best chapter of One Punch Man ever. We got Blast getting serious, Awakened Garo getting serious, even Saitama finally snapping and losing it after watching his best friend get destroyed right in front of his eyes by Garo. The darkness in this one was definitely unlike most One Punch Man chapters, so I really can't wait to see what happens next. What does a Saitama who has snapped and doesn't hold back look like? Let me know your thoughts on the chapter and what you expect to happen in the next one. It seems like Blast will have to get Saitama and Garo out of this dimension, and then the two can go wild against each other, and that will probably be some of the best fighting illustrations we've seen so far. But for now, smash that like button with your own Serious Punch if you enjoyed this review and want to keep them coming. You definitely don't want to miss the next chapter review, which is looking to be even crazier than this one with Saitama's serious power at full display. So subscribe and hit that notification bell if you haven't, so you don't miss future One Punch Man chapter reviews and updates. While you wait for the next chapter to drop, feel free to check out my One Punch Man playlist that includes videos on all S-class heroes, Dragon and God level monsters, and more. Link to that is in the description. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.